Hey, my father. Yeah, yeah. Invite people into the word for the nation. Intent. Fire. Nope. Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. I am your humble, humble servant and host for tonight. I am Kyle. Man, there's a lot going on in this world. I'm hoping that my volume is straight on here. I got some type of notification on YouTube. I'm just hoping that you guys can hear me. Uh, I'm gonna send you guys a message. I hope who's on here can give me an answer. All praises. So tonight's lesson, and again, you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Forgot my glasses yet again by my father, so it's all good. I know where they are, right? But tonight, our title of our lesson on what is a Hebrew, what is a Shemite, what is an Ivryt. Those three titles are three different names amongst many of the names that we have been called throughout time. Israelites or Yashvalites, the kingdom of David, the house of the Most High. I see my cousin in the building, Michael in the building. So we have had many names, so that's why I always put that. But what doesn't change is our doctrine and who we believe in. Our holy scriptures, the Lakodesh, the our Most High does not change. It hasn't changed from the beginning of time to the formulation of this world. We are in so much turmoil right now. Everybody is seeing a demise. Everybody is seeing things happening. It is affecting everyone. And there's a lot of conversation going on. But what we don't have is a conversation about the Most High in those platforms on Twitter and Instagram, and, so forth. X, right? In this hour, people have everything to say but what the Most High has to say. Everybody believes in their belief system, right? But somehow it doesn't make it into the conversations about how we can solve our problems. Our problems are political, racial, global, national to international. In none of those scenarios does following what the Most High say do, or his mode of operation, is considered. It boggles my mind as I listen to more and more people talk about what they think their solutions are, and how much of it is tied into pain, how much of it is tied into misinformation when it comes to history. I see my brother Edom is in the building. Misinformation when it comes to history, misinformation when it comes to scripture. They're not reading, nor are they trying to put forth information that would actually be part of the building blocks of how we change everything. I'm saying that very slow, and I'm saying that very methodical, because I see Jeanette in the building. Because when I say that they are not Most High, that means they're doing the opposite. The title of our lesson is Denying the Most High, the fate of Edom, Esau. Us as Hebrews, Shemites, Ivryts, Yasharites, Israelites, from the house of Judah, from the house of Naphtali, from the house of Reuben, from the house of Gad, from the house of, our 12 tribes from each one of those houses. We are a nation, as the song on YouTube played from my brother Peasy, For My Nation, right? So if we're going to build a nation, it has to be on the tenets of the Most High in this scripture. I'm saying this to everyone that goes into these spaces. I want you to listen very clearly when they are making their solutions and citing their problems. The Most High is nowhere in there. So that means that they are denying the Most High. No nation can survive. It can rise, it will fall. In this world of immediate gratification, when I make that statement, people won't care. They'll say, hey, as long as we get to build a nation, I don't care when it falls. We'll see if it falls. That's the arrogance that this nation is under right now. The arrogance that they can survive these prophecies, they can survive the end of their empire without righteousness, morals, and the commandments. We're going to go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 25. Proverbs chapter 25, we're going to verse 26. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 26, and it reads, like a muddied spring, a ruined fountain or polluted fountain, a righteous man fallen before a wicked man. What the Most High is saying right here, and what they're saying in Proverbs is that a dirty water to go before them. For him, a righteous woman, for a righteous man to fall to the wicked of this world, you become polluted. But what you are is a Hebrew, a Shemite, an Ivryt, an Israelite, a Yashralite. That's what you are at core. You are not in a position where you cannot replenish. You may get muddied, you may pollute yourself, but you are still a child of the Most High and a covenant with that Creator. Do not deny your Creator. You will fall to the fate of Esau and Edom. Again, it reads, Proverbs chapter 25, verse 26, like a muddied spring or a ruined fountain is a righteous man fallen before a wicked one. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. We're going to read verses 1 through 6, because knowing what a Hebrew is, knowing how a nation can be built that can survive the test of time, that can be covered by the Most High, you must need Exodus chapter 20, verse 6. And as you are going to listen to these continued political conversations, as you listen to these continued debates, as you're going to listen to these news reports of all hell breaking loose, dollar falling, war at the door, inflation, famine, I want you to remember these words. Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 6. The Most High, Shaddai, spoke all these words, saying, I am the Most High, am your Shaddai, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. If you don't think that you're in bondage right now, then I guess I can't talk to you. I guess none of this makes sense if you don't think that you're in bondage. If everything is hunky-dory, if everything is flowers for you, if you're not fighting at the city hall, if you're not out here being a grassroots, fighter for the community, then you must feel the bondage that you're in. If you're trying to galvanize a community, if you're trying to get the community going in one direction, you will feel the bondage that we're in. It says, you shall have no other gods besides me. We live in a nation that does not recognize the Most High. They recognize that didn't say he was the Most High. They say in 350 AD with the Constantine Catholic Council of Nicaea that he was God. I see Tia in the building. That he was God. This happened in 350. That man decided that this entity that we hang on porcelain, that people put pieces on with flooded out jewels, that this person is the Most High in the flesh. That the Most High came down in this fleshly person, and he was that person. And now they worship him as the Father. You can't see the confusion in that. I don't know what to tell you. When the Most High said there, no other gods besides me. If you're going to call upon my name, you call upon my heavenly name. You don't call upon a name that you think that I walk this earth on. I walk this earth with. It says, you shall have no other gods besides me. Verse 4, you shall not make for yourself a sculptured image or any likeness of what is in the heavens above or on the earth below or in the waters under the earth. You shall not bow down to serve. You shall not bow down to them to serve them. For I, the Most High, your Shaddai, am an impassioned, not jealous. The Most High is not jealous of man. Only when you believe the Most High could be man, then you would think that he would have a jealous trait. He's impassioned for his law. He said, for I am an impassioned creator, visiting the guilt of the parents upon the children, upon the third and upon the fourth generation of those who reject me. Now, when they're in them political rooms, they're in their think tanks. We live in a nation that says that we follow this porcelain image that they gave, but yet we are separate. Church and state are separate. Do you understand the foolery that's going on? So you're not to say that church and state are separated. So now we can just be political dogs. We can just fight for position. This has nothing to do with the Most High. But this is a nation that you say are under whatever God it is. But we're going to separate that entity that we created, and we're going to run our government absent. They said they needed to do that in order to create a nation that allowed all religions to be here, a freedom of religion. Here, as a Hebrew, as your path and your way, we follow the Most High. And the Most High says he's impassioned, and you don't have any other creator or government that you adhere to over him. And it says, those who reject me for generations to upon the fourth generation, verse 6, but showing kindness to the 1,000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. That's the definition of a Hebrew. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to verse 1 through 6 again. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 6. Now, if you obey the Most High, your Shaddai, to observe faithfully all his commandments, which I enjoin upon you this day, the Most High, your Creator, will set you high above all the nations of the earth, above all the other nations of the earth. Maybe y'all don't believe that. Maybe I don't know what it is that you need in order to believe these words. It doesn't matter what nation. I see my brother Yawan is in the building. Wow. There doesn't matter what nation is around, over, under us. The Most High is saying that following him as a people, we will be put above all nations. The Most High has prophesied many times about taking us out of the lands. He's also prophesied about us building on top of the ruins of the evil. When these people are talking about fixing the problems of the world, they are not involving the Most High. They are denying the Most High. I got in one of these X rooms, they call them spaces, and it was, I believe the title was, What's Worse, White Supremacy or Immigration Supremacy? Now, this was a space that was held by people who were dealing with the immigration impact highly. On this space on X, as I gave them my opinion, because they were all about need the right politician to take things over, and one person even said, "Y'all don't need a politician. Y'all need a boss. Y'all need a real boss," like saying, the crime families, the mafia. You know what I'm saying? These are the suggestions that they were putting up as a solution to their problems. I chimed in and said, I don't believe that politics is the answer to the problems. You believe that if you get more black people in those positions in politics, then things will turn for you. I'm saying I'm in a place where majority of our politicians, especially in this city, are black. And they are bought out, or they are stifled once they get to the state house or the Congress. I offered them morals and spoke of scripture shortly. I didn't even bring up a verse, and they all got, it was like a roar of people saying, "Oh, you on that religious. Oh, he religious." And then they just started to discount anything that I would say. Did not tell them about Hebrew state of being, the work we've done, any of those things, because that's not what those people want to hear. Those people want to hear that a man is going to save them. A politician, a mafia boss, militant leader. They're looking for a man. The same way this nation turned a man that they killed into their God. You must understand that this nation can't survive, and why it would lose to us that would formulate a nation built upon the Most High and his laws. It says, "Now if you obey the Most High, your Creator, observing faithfully all his commandments, which I enjoin upon you this day, the Most High, your Creator, will set you high above all the nations of the earth. All these blessings shall come upon you and take effect." No matter what your position is, saying following these laws and these commandments, that these blessings will overflow upon you and will take effect if you will but heed the word of the Most High Shaddai. Baraka, blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the country. Verse 4, Baraka, blessed shall be the issue of your womb, the produce of your soul, of your soil, and the offspring of your cattle, the calving of your herd, and your flock. Baraka, blessed shall be your basket and your bowl, your comings, and Baraka, blessed shall be. I'm blessed in any form or fashion. This nation is totally devoid of the concept of morals and righteousness. It just doesn't have it. It's not in its sights. It's not in its goals. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. It reads, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not frightened, for I am your Shaddai. I strengthen you and I help you. I uphold you with my victorious, righteous right hand." As you do righteous, the Most High's hand does for you. It's not something you can see. It's not something that you can point at when the person comes out and does the thing that you need. You can't say, "Man, the Most High sent you." Some of us do, because that's the ones that have intent and live with the intent of the Most High. But the ones that do not, they couldn't understand it. It boggles their mind. The Most High does and uses people, uses nations, uses animals, uses the weather. The Most High uses all things because they're all in his power. So how can you build a nation or fix a nation without the Most High? It says, "I strengthen you and I help you. I uphold you with my victorious right hand." Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus chapter 26, and we're going to read verses 1 through 6. I hope y'all catching the theme, right? So it says, "You shall not make idols for yourselves, or set up for yourselves carved images or pillars, or place figured stone in your hand to worship upon, or place figured stones in your hands to worship upon. For I, the Most High, am your creator, your Shaddai. You shall keep my Sabbaths and venerate my sanctuary, mine, the Most High." So in Leviticus, as this was setting up the priesthood, this was our law. This was when we were with Moshe. The Most High, no great, nothing in a man's image or this image, water, in the earth, in the heavens. Verse 3, "If you follow my law and faithfully observe my commandments, I will grant you rains in their season, so that the earth shall yield its produce and the trees of the field their fruit." So the Most High said, "You follow my laws, and I will make the seasons rotate properly so that you get the proper harvest, so that you don't go hungry." I know they got governments and whatnot, but I think the more important thing than the government is food and survival for my family. And the Most High says that he takes care of that. If you're a nation that's following his laws and commandments. Verse 5, "Your threshing shall overtake the vintage, and your vintage shall overtake the sowing. You shall eat your fill of bread and dwell securely in your land." Verse 6, "I will grant peace in the land, and you shall lie down untroubled by anyone. I will give you the land respite. I will give the land respite, which is rest from vicious beasts, and no sword shall cross your lands." So the Most High said, "I will stop people from warring with you. I will stop the wild beasts from tearing up your lands, from ox, goose, whatever wild animals, wolves, hyenas." Most High said, "I have control of all things for a nation that's aligned with me." I was extremely frustrated with the conversation in these spaces. Heated, angry. I understand the pain I understand the anger. But when you continue to repeat the same cycle and think that that cycle is going to change if you're just angrier, or if you just have more people that's angry. So the question I would ask all of these angry people that are only focused on destroying what's present, what's your plan? What's your plan for the new? What are you going to replace these things with? Oh, you just want to put black people in these political rooms so that they can do better for you. Well, you don't understand capitalism. Capitalism requires a lower class, a fleeting middle class, and a short, very exclusive higher class. There can be no higher class. There can be no fleeting middle class if there isn't a lower class. So no matter what politician that goes in, laws are set that way because they're not set by the Most High. They're not set on equality. So you want to have a politician can't change things national, can't change things federal. Landry is the governor of my state. Landry, the family, is from the French family that was here before the United States started. When the United States started, the Landrys were part of the French families that were taken care of in the 1804 Louisiana Purchase. So they have so much money that all they do is run their kids for office. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. You must understand that there are families, the blue bloods on the East Coast, that run these races, run these laws. If you do not come back to the Most High's laws, you will never be able to change their laws to benefit you, because then the entire system breaks of capitalism. You know, the step up from slavery, how this nation was created. I might be talking stupid. Maybe I'm just an ignorant man and I just don't know what I'm seeing. I just got it all twisted. I just need to be more pro this, more pro that. Says your threshing shall overtake the vintage, and your vintage shall overtake the sowing. You shall eat your fill of bread and dwell securely in your land. That's what I'm here for. I'm for the Most High. Verse 6, I will grant peace in the land, and you shall lie down untroubled by anyone. I will give you the land respite from vicious beasts, and no sword shall cross your land. Let's go to Proverbs 14, verse 15. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15. And it says, even though I've read everything I've read to you guys, Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15 says, a simple person believes anything. A clever man ponders his course. A simple person believes anything. You can believe what the politicians tell you. You can believe what your religious teachers tell you. You can believe what your mother and your grandfather said to you, as they have polluted the concept of the Most High, as they have bastardized and profaned the Most High's name, that there is a group of people that are the champion of that. There's a group of people that the Most High says he hates. with a perfect passion. Let's go to Obidiah, the book of Obidiah. This is our last reading for tonight, because as I've read to you what the nation that we need to build, and the only nation that can survive, and the only nation that will be put above all other nations, I must read to you the fate of this nation, because this nation is Edom. Edom is the Vatican. That is your Christian kingdom. When they tell you that we are a Judeo-Christian nation, that means that. So the Most High has a prophecy for that nation, for those people. And please understand that this is both black and white. That there is no color in Catholicism. The Byzantine Empire was black nobility, dukes, earls, all of those types of things that the scripture says all the dukes were Esau. When you don't know the scripture, you don't know, you take these names and you just think that they are just names that have been passed down. But no, dukes are in the scripture, and dukes, they say those families that claim to be dukes are of Esau. These will be melanated people. So Edom is not just Caucasian. Edom is both melanated and Caucasian. One would say it started off melanated, being that he was a twin of Jacob. Jacob, as we all know, melanated. So Obadiah, verse 1 of its only chapter. The prophecy of Obadiah. We have received tidings from the Most High, and an envoy has been sent out among the nations. Up, let us rise up against her for battle. All nations. See, this Obadiah is going to sound a lot like the scriptures for the daughter of Babylon. Yes. Would be one and the same. So it says, let us rise up against her for battle. Thus says the Most High concerning Edom. That's the Most High's word concerning Edom, which is Esau, the Catholic, because they are the Apple nations. Your arrogant heart has seduced you. That's how we know this nation is Edom, because this nation is so arrogant in believing that it can do whatever and never have to pay the price. This nation here has gone into bankruptcy so many times, from being the U.S. to the USA to the United States of America. But you don't know that. You think it's always been just 400 years of the straight incorporated United States. No. Verse 3, your arrogant heart has seduced you. You who dwell in the cliffs of the rocks, in your lofty abode, you think in your heart, who can pull me down to earth? Should you nest as high as the eagle? We understand that Rome, which is Edom, which is Esau, which is Christianity, symbol is an eagle. It says, should your eyrie be lodged among the stars? That's satellites, space stations. Elon wants to go to Mars. These will be stars from us. You know what I'm saying? We will call them stars. Even from there, I will pull you down, declares the Most High. If thieves were to come to you, marauders by night, they would steal no more than they needed. If vintagers came to you, they would surely leave some gleaning. Vintagers are the ones that come and get the grapes off the vines. It says, surely they will leave you some grapes left. How utterly you are destroyed, how thoroughly rifled is Esau. How ransacked his hordes. All your allies turn you back at the frontier. So they don't let anyone in. My people that just came on YouTube, please let me know if you can hear me or not, because my signal is acting funny. And so it says, all your allies turn you back at the frontier. Your own Confederates have duped and overcome you. This would be Russia that has played them, China, who has played this nation. Those who ate your bread, he's talking about other nations, have planted snares under you. Ooh, does that not sound like this nation? Where they're trying to get, when they have the borders are broken, all these Asians come in, they say, oh, Chinese. You have to it should be an easy one, but allow me to make the connection. Those who ate your bread have planted snares under you. So he believed that he could stop the war in a day. Yet we know this is the same Russia that did the Columbia pipeline that we had here, shut it down. It was a hack. And when they asked them, Russia said, yeah, we know that the hackers came out of Russia, but we can't really we don't know where they're at. So that's the end of that. We hope y'all work that out over there. China, who has Temu that people buy all these clothes from, and the clothes are such a hard material that they're poisonous to your skin. They have been sending food. I don't know if y'all remember the Chinese drywall. We had it down here with the hurricanes, right? Where they gave us infested drywalls that mildewed, and you had to get them out of the house. People built their entire house with the sheetrock of this infested drywall from China. Y'all don't make the connection of the snares. They act like they friends. You on the iPhone right now. I'm on the Samsung. You know what I'm saying? They act like they're friends, but they have snares. They say they ate your bread, but they have planted snares under you. He is bereaved of understanding in that day. It's saying that Edom, Esau, the house, this Judeo-Christian nation would have no understanding of their own arrogance, would have no understanding of how they're being played by these other nations. They will have none. This is written by Obidiah. It says, I will make the wise vanish from Edom, understanding from Esau's mount. Your warriors shall lose heart, O Teman, and not a man on Esau's mount shall survive the slaughter. This is prophesied. For the outrage to your brothers Jacob, disgrace shall engulf you, and you shall perish forever. On the day when you stood aloof, when aliens carried off his goods, when foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you were as one of them. You sat there and took joy in putting us in prison. In fact, the Christians have, through the Inquisition, through the Crusades, they, let alone, have been chasing Jacob. So that's Esau chasing us all the way till we got into the Americas through the transatlantic slave trade. Get it? It says, you were one of them that cast lots of the nations. Verse 12, how could you gaze with glee on your brothers that day? Over the people of Yehuda, over Judah, on the Most High does not forget. How could you loudly jeer on the day of anguish? How could you enter the gates of my people on its day of disaster, gaze in glee with the others on its misfortune, on its day of disaster, and lay hands on its wealth, on its day of disaster. How could you stand at the passes to cut down its fugitives? How could you betray those who fled on the day of anguish? This is what the Catholic Church, the beginnings, the Esau, the family that put this Byzantine Catholic Christian thing together. This is what they did to us as we were being slaughtered by the Greeks and the Romans in 70 AD. This is what they were doing. Verse 15, as you did, so shall it be done to you. Your conduct shall be requited. Yea, against all nations, the day of the Most High is at hand. The same cup that you drank on my holy mount shall all nations drink evermore. Drink till their speech grows thick and they become as though they had never been. So the Most High is talking about taking down nations. All these nations that joined in the captivity of the diaspora, let's just call it that in modern day time, the diaspora, the 12 tribes that have been scattered, that you have been enslaving through all these years since your Pope's reign. Most High says, oh yeah, all of y'all are going to get it. You enjoyed it, and what you did is going to be done to you. Isn't that what the world believes in, karma? Doesn't the world, when they don't want to believe in the Most High, they just believe in karma? They like to come up with these little phrases, little cliches. It says, shall all nations drink evermore, drink till their speech grows thick, and they become as though they had never been. But on Zion's mount, a remnant shall survive. Us that's claiming him, the ones that's messianic. When I go to these spaces on Twitter, there's a few of us that speak. I'm not going to be doing it too much because they're going to die. Yeah. Hey, that's white, Asian. I've heard so many horrible things in these spaces. Talk to each other, what their plans are, and none of them involve the Most High. They're all of this nation, arrogant. And it shall be holy, the house of them. So the ones that have done us will get done by us. Oh, I can't wait, Mr. Genie. I'm almost finished. If you hold on, Mr. Genie, I will explain how melanated people are Hebrews. First, I will leave you with this nugget. The only way that you have Caucasian Hebrews is because of a conversion in 600 AD after the Muslim faith had been created. The Turk Khazarians, which is why they're known as Khazarian Jewish, those were the ones that are now claiming to be Hebrew. And I'm just explaining to you as a tidbit of what you think is a Hebrew is a misinformation. It is people that converted, and they will tell you themselves that they converted in that time, not the original people. So therefore, that's the first thing. And it says, and all Africans, Jamaicans the same? No, they're not. So let's go to finish up. It says, the house of Jacob shall dispose those who dispose them. The house of Jacob shall be fire, and the house of Joseph, the northern tribes, Joseph, flame, and the house of Esau shall be straw. They shall burn it and devour it, and no survivor shall be left of the house of Esau, for the Most High has spoken. Verse 19, thus They shall possess the Negev and Mount Esau as well, the Shephaliah and Philistia, right? They shall possess the Ephraimites country and the district of Samaria and Benjamin, along with Gilead, and that exiled force of Israelites shall possess what belongs to the Phoenicians as far as Zarephath, while the Jerusalemite exile community of Sephardi, that's my family of Sephardi, that means the ones that went after 589 AD, and for Mr. Genie, you must know that what we call Jerusalem today in antiquity was known as Northeast Africa. That they changed it to the Middle East after World War II. Understand that you will consider the Middle East name was originally South Africa and went to what was called by the Muslims Al-Andalus, which became Spain. That was the Sephardic Hebrews that fled in 589 AD with the royal house of David family that survived, went there. And that's why you have Hebrews there, or Sephardic Hebrews. So, and it says, shall possess the towns of Negev, for liberators shall march up on Mount Zion to wreak judgment on Mount Esau, and dominion shall be the Most High. Now, we understand the title of the lesson was Denying the Most High and the Fate of Edom, Esau. So the book of Obidiah outlined the fate of Esau and Edom because of the treachery they had done to their brothers. Now, historically, to answer your question, Mr. Genie, historically, Esau is where you can find, if you Google it, Petra, Petra. It is in lower beneath Jerusalem, in the land below where Yehuda was, and that land was the original place for Edom. Those were where Esau's family lived in antiquity, closer towards Kenya than anything. All right, so or I guess Ethiopia, but northern, right? So right under Jerusalem is where Esau was, and their dwelling is called Petra, where they dwelled in the rocks, as it said here, that they cut into the mountains. Look up in Google Petra. They left and went up to Europe with the grandson of Esau, which was Zepho. Zepho went up to Europe and had more 8 wives, and then went into what they did. So, and it says, could you show the Bible where it states who are the Jews and that the Edomites were white? I didn't say the Edomites were white. I said the Edomites were black. I said because of the region that they originated in, which was Africa. So now in the Bible, it says who states where it says, could you show in the Bible where it states who are the Jews? Well, the historical will tell you where they were, and historically it will tell you that they in 70 AD were dispersed. So to find a scripture to say where they are, they have been said. The only other people in this world that's known for that was moved by the European nations, Christian Edomite nations that involved slavery. along with the Muslim slave trade as well. So there is no place in scripture that says the Jews are in New Orleans or the Jews are here or the Jews are the ones with the dark hair and have a beard. We've also have been mated and breeded every time that we've been put in slavery. So we have many other nations inside of us, but when you do your genealogy, it still points back to the land. So, and we also have this calling card that goes nowhere, right? So understand that your question of who the Jews are, what you need to understand is that in the scripture, the Most High calls people by their nations. And the people that are calling themselves Khazarian Jewish, Khazarian is their nation. If you do not understand how titles are done, if I say I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm saying that my state is Louisiana, but I'm from New Orleans. When they say that they are Khazarian Jews, they're saying that they are from Khazaria in Judea. You must understand language if to kind of help with your discovery of who the original people are. So with that said, over the globe were not the blacks. Yes, they were. Not blacks, but they melanated people. Black is so we were called Swarty, we were called Ruddy, we were called Igbo, we were called Negro. So, they're in Africa, in the sub-Saharan, where many of our other tribes ran to, including a place where you call Ghana today in the 1500 maps was called the Kingdom of Yehuda of Judah. So if, must understand that there were no Caucasians in Ghana, and there aren't any Caucasians that are aboriginal to Ghana to this day. So that landmass was known as Kingdom of Judah, and it was under a landmass in a region called Negro land. So you have the diaspora that was taken into slavery that are known as Negroes here because of who they are. So you may want to say black, but black is actually a connotation of being pale. So really Caucasian would be black, and of course we are under our judicial system is under oppression. Black is known for oppression. We are Negroes. We ourselves to Sephardim. We can trace ourselves back to the land mass. So, with that said, that is our lesson for tonight. And I pray that this word has edified you and understand that you need to come back to righteousness. Regardless if Jews or black, white, orange, aliens, or whatnot, the Most High has given a law, and that law is for us to follow. When the Most High made a distinction of his 12 tribes, it was because we were supposed to uphold the law and be an example for everyone else. That's why we're chosen, to be an example. No, actually, Mr. Genie, you should look at Ezekiel chapter 38 for the Gog and Magog war. And in that, the Most High stated that a bunch of nations would take over Israel. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it for you right now because I want you to have that before I get out of here. Ezekiel chapter 38. And it speaks of what you're trying to say about when they came back to Jerusalem, right? So, and it says here, Ezekiel chapter 38, and it says, we're going to read from verse 5. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 5. Among them shall be Persia, Nubia, and Put, everyone with their shields and helmet, Gomer and all his cohorts, Beth Togarmah, which is Germany, Gomar is Germany is Gomar, as well as Turgamar is right there next to it. The remotest parts of the north and all its cohorts, and many peoples with you. Be ready, prepare yourselves, and all the battalions mustered about you, and hold yourself in reserve. After a long time, you shall be summoned. In the distant future, you shall march against the land. And here it goes. You shall march against the land of a peoples restored from the sword, gathered from the midst of many peoples. You must understand what it's saying. This is the prophecy of Gog and Magog that is happening right now when we're talking about Russia, when we're talking about Armageddon, when you're talking about your revelations and you're talking about the major battle that's going to happen. This is prophesied in Ezekiel chapter 38. And the Most High said that all of these nations, Persia, Put, even the Muslim nations, are all going to come down to have this conversion and fight upon Jerusalem. But Jerusalem is going to be, and it says, of a people restored from the sword. Happened in 19 says, not the middle, not the original inhabitants. Jerusalem would have be in the middle, which have long lain desolate. So it tells you here in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 8 through 9, that the people that came back, as you just said, all the Jews that returned to Israel, the millions of them, why are they not colored for the most part but white tones? Because they came from other nations, the Khazarian nation, the Turk nation, the Russian nations, which I just explained to you. So I hope, Mr. Genie, you can understand that when it says here in the scripture that it will be brought back by the sword, it was in 1948, but it would not be us as the people. It would be a group of people from other nations, which would be white. You get it? I'm going to read a little bit more for you. Liberated from, and it says, Israel, which have long lain desolate. Peoples liberated from the nation. It says people liberated from the nation. That's the one that got kicked out of everywhere else. The Khazarians, if you know their history, they got kicked out of every other place. And they said liberated from the nations, and now all dwelling secure. Ooh. That's right. Those are Edomites going to war, Richard. So when you ask the question of who was all those millions of Jews that went back there, that was their nation that had been scattered and kicked around everywhere because of how horrible they were in every other nation that they were in. Most I said they came down there with the sword and got it in 1948 and said that they were of a group of peoples. Mm-hmm. Oh, so now you want to switch it, Mr. Genie? Now you want to know about whites being saved? This is not a racial thing. I wish you would get off of the white and the black thing. I have just expressed to you that Edomites were both black and white. I just expressed to you that our book tells us that Esau were the dukes. This was black nobility. These were the same people that were enslaving our people that were black too. Yes, blacks enslaved blacks, white enslaved whites. This was a real thing that happened. It's called indentured servitude. Before the British installed chattel slavery in the 1700s. So you want to know who's going to be saved, Mr. Genie. You need to go to Exodus chapter 20, where it lays out the Most High's 10 commandments. He says, those who follow his law can be covered. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what nation you are. I don't care what you think you want to be. If you follow his law, you will have salvation. Don't ask again about how those people got into the land. Prophecy of Ezekiel 38. That is our word. Thank you for questioning the Genie. I pray that you have gotten your answer to scripture. I suggest you read the 37, 38, and 39. it will open up your eyes. We'll see you guys on Wednesday for cultural appropriation. Me shalom. Oh, praise to Shaddai. By the way, Genie, that's the Most High's name, Shaddai.